Indonesia rainforest? In 1960s, 80% of Indonesia was a rainforest. But since then, rapid development has decimated the rainforests. Demand for paper, pulp and palm oil, as well as disputes over land rights has led to huge deforestation. Just over half the rainforest remains, and more than 1 million hectares a year is cleared. Once exposed, the peatlands are easily eroded by wind, and rain and increased rates of decomposition causes carbon into the atmosphere.
Indonesia is the third biggest global emitter of carbon.
River Esha Devon flows for 82.7 kilometers from its source in Exmoor. It has an extensive network of tributaries and a high drainage density. The area of upper catchment is 601 kilometers, and its max elevation is 514 meters. The lowest elevation is 26 meters. Its estimated 84.4% is underlain by impermeable rocks. Most of the land is agricultural grassland, 67%, with 15% woodland. Precipitation 1,295 millimeters, evaporation, soil water storage 451 millimeters, runoff 844 millimeters. River Esha Devon? Rainfall is very high and much is absorbed by peaty soils. Runoff accounts for 65% of water balance due to the impermeable nature of most of the bedrock reduces percolation, and the drainage ditches reduces the soil water storage. The hydrograph shows it responds relatively slowly after flooding. Discharge recedes slowly due to the rural nature of lower catchment. River Esha Devon? In 1979, an upland tributary was dammed to create Wimbleball Reservoir. This has a surface area of 150 hectares. This supplies water to Exeter. It regulates water flow and prevents peaks and troughs of water. River Esha Devon, peatland restoration. Drainage ditches have been dug in the peat bogs to make it suitable for farming, reducing water quality and increasing the speed of water flow. As the peat has been dried out, decomposition has led to carbon being releasing. The Exmoor-Myers project as block drainage. Ditches with peat blocks increasing water content, returning the ground to the saturated conditions, and helps retain carbon to peats. The Exmoor-Myers project aims to restore 2,000 hectares of Exmoor to the boggy conditions. This means more water storage, water transfer is slow, increasing capacity. Increasing quality of water so it's expensive to treat. More carbon storage in the peat, more supply for animals. Improved opportunities for education. Water monitoring. River Esha? River Esha is on the south coast of Devon, England. Water tables started to rise, meaning more moisture is being retained in the soil. Storm flow and flood peaks have been reduced. Holderness Coast? Eastern England, Flamborough Head, a chalk landform. Burlington Bay to Spurn Head, an extensive zone of erosion and sediment transfer. Spurn Head, a classic spit formed at the estuary of the River Humber. The main input is erosion. Some of the system is washed offshore to form an output from the system, while the slightly coarser material is moved southward via longshore drift. Some deposited to Spurn Head. Factors on Holderness Coast. Geology is an important factor. Chalk, a relatively resistant rock, forms a broad arc in the region stretching from the Lincolnshire Wolds. When the wind is blowing from northeast, it has its greatest fetch and can create storm surges several meters high. These can lead to flooding. In 1953, more than 300 people lost their lives due to this. Response. Holderness Coast. In response to the rapid rate of erosion, parts of the coastline has been protected by hard engineering structures such as seawall, rock armor, and groins. These interventions have helped, but it leads to exacerbating coastal erosion in southern parts. Holderness Coast, Flamborough Head, chalk-resistant rock, vertical cracks run through. These are exploited by the process of weathering and erosion to form narrow clefts. The sea is actively eroding and undercutting the base, leading to rockfalls over time, causing wave-cut platforms and stacks. When waves approach the coastline, they are bent or refracted by the shape of the coast, thus have low energy, resulting in a deposited beach as the headlands bear the fall force. Bridlington Bay to Spurn Head, the coast has retreated 5 kilometers since Roman times, with rates of erosion in excess of 1 meter per year. The Holderness Coast is one of the most rapidly eroded coasts in Europe. Spurn Head is, however, nourished by the sediment transfer and has an important role in protecting towns. There is even some of Holderness Coast sediment that ends up on Netherlands protecting it. Hence the debate of if we should interfere with sediment to protect a few towns, or leave it to run its natural course. Spurn Head, a spit, a temporary sediment source or sink. Much of the material that forms the spit is from Holderness Coast and is transferred by longshore drift. Spurn Head is very narrow, thus gets breached by major storms, thus being called temporary after a massive breach in 1849. Grinds were erected to stabilize the spit. The Royal Engineers took over the task of maintaining coastal defenses in 1960s. The spit was bought by Yorkshire naturalists. Spurn Head, unable to afford the maintenance cost, the trust had to allow some sea defenses to fall. When the largest tidal surge in 60 years hit Spurn Point in 2013, the defenses could not cope. Odisha, India coast, eastern coast of India bordering Bay of Bengal. It has a relatively straight coastline and is India's 9th largest state. Mostly compromises depositional landforms. Wide range of coastal and marine flora and fauna. 1,435 kilometers of mangrove forest. It has a Chilika Lake, a salt lagoon. During the monsoon season, the lake becomes less saline. Odisha is a significant sediment store and provides a source for this part of Bay of Bengal. Odisha human opportunities, wide variety of marine and coastal flora and fauna. Large stocks of fish, huge potential for offshore wind, tidal and wave power. 35% of the coastal stretch is laden with substantial sediment and heavy metal deposits. There are important clay and limestone resources in the north of the state. Opportunities for offshore oil as well as seabed mining. Many people employed in coastal fishing. Tourism is important. Chilika Lake Sanctuary boasts over 150 migrant birds. Risks for human occupation. Odisha rates of erosion have increased through natural process as well as human intervention. With the majority of the state living on the coastal plain, this has become a concern due to vulnerability to storm surges, as well as threats of climate change and rising sea levels. Erosion provides important inputs of sediment that once transferred form beaches, dunes and barrier beaches, with accretion occurring in the summer and erosion in the winter. Odisha 46.8% is accreting, 36.8% eroding. Most accretion is the north, erosion in the south. It's a very dynamic coastal system, subject to considerable change, affected by significant seasonal variation. Human intervention has had a major impact, interfering with sediment transfer. Odisha cyclones, at risk from cyclones. The intensity will increase due to climate change. In October 2013, it was hit with a cyclone. Over 1 million people were evacuated. 44 people died. 700,000 worth of damage. In 1999, a cyclone in Odisha killed over 10,000 people. They now apply several mitigation strategies and provide relief supplies ahead. ICZM project has taken place to establish sustainable levels of economic and social activity and protect the coast.
Orissa management. Mahanadi Delta in Orissa is very important but has lost lots of its mangroves due to fishing 55. Years ago, it had an average width of 5.1 kilometers of mangroves to protect its coast, but today it's 1.2 kilometers. During the 1999 cyclone, villages with 4 or more mangroves recorded 0 deaths. The Wetlands International's ICZM project is to restore mangroves.
Mount Merapi, island of Java, most active volcano in Indonesia.
In October 2010, after 400 earthquakes beneath the volcano, 20 people was evacuated, caused 350 deaths, and 350,000 people displaced. Mount Etna, Sicily, Italy. Altitude of 3,350 meters. An area of 1,250 kilometers. Europe's most active volcano. Home to over 90,000 people. Indian Ocean tsunami, December 2004. 9.0 to 9.3 magnitude. Second biggest ever. 15 meters vertical displacement of 1,600 kilometers seabed. Killed 300. 0 people. Warnings was to late. Infrastructure damaged. Vegetation removed. 500,000 people forced into refugee camps. 226 meters damage to fishing industry. Water supplies contaminated. Responses to Indian Ocean tsunami. 168 organizations helped. Foreign military troops provided air traffic control and assistance. Political barriers slowed aid distribution. Tamil Tiger rebels. Port-au-Prince, Haiti, January 2010. Hit by an earthquake. Epicenter was 24 kilometers southwest, or capital. Home to 2 million people. 230,000 people died. 180,000 homes damaged. Liquefaction on looser sediments called buildings to subside. 1.5 million people still homeless a year later. Port-au-Prince, Haiti, January 2010. U.S. military took control of airport to speed up distribution. 16. 0 UN troops restored law. UN World Food Program helped with food. 1.5 million homeless people accommodated in 1,100 camps. S1. 5 billion package. Tohoku, Japan. Multi-hazardous 1,500 earthquakes a year. Biggest earthquake in Japan. Moved entire island to 0.4 milliseconds. Made Earth stay shorter by 1.8 microseconds. People along a 3,000 kilometers coastline had minutes to escape. Overwhelmed Japan's tsunami defense. Buildings collapsed. 500 kilometers area flooded. 18. 0 dead mainly due to tsunami, but the warning system saved many lives. 500,000 homeless. 6 million homes lost electricity. 700 aftershocks in next 2 weeks. Fear of nuclear disaster caused panic. Selling, survivors huddled together amidst the cold. 100 solders mobilized. UK sent 63 specialists. Japan coped well. In 2013, new tsunami warning system. Government set up reconstruction special zones. Following Chernobyl, number of thyroid cancer increased. 100. 0 still displaced 5 years later. 300 billion in damage. Alberta wildfire 2016. 90,000 evacuated. 2,400 homes destroyed. 0 deaths. Cause is unknown. A link to climate change. Ash was washed into water leading to pollution. Millions of tons of carbon released. 9 billion damaged. 600 work camps destroyed. Declared a state of emergency. Hurricane Sandy, USA, 2012. 160 kmh. In Jamaica, 70% left without electricity. In Haiti, 200. 0 homeless and 50 killed. 160 killed in USA. 75 billion in damage USA. 233 deaths. Schools were closed. Power companies hired additional contractor. Emergency declaration to ensure federal aid to affected areas. 500. 0 people in Cuba sent relief from UN Food Program. 4,000 volunteers to help people affected by Red Cross. Live concert raised 20 million. US Gov approved package worth 50 billion. 0 remain displaced a year after spike in birth rates. Political issues over global warming. Cyclone Winston, Fiji 2016. 2,000 kilometers northeast of New Zealand. Population of 86,000. Hit by strongest cyclone in history. 40,000 homes destroyed. 144 people killed. 1.4 billion in damage. Declared a state of emergency. U.S. provided 9 million in support. Government launched help for homes. International aid was provided.